I'm Ben Gonzalez with the Texas Department of Insurance, and this is the Texas Insurance Podcast. On each episode, we look at an insurance topic, why it's important to you, and offer some tips to help save you money or protect your family and property. We've still got a couple of months of winter left, and as we saw last year, February can sometimes be a very cold one. Today we're going to talk about ways to prevent your pipes from freezing and causing a home disaster. We'll also talk to one of our insurance specialists to find out if home insurance is going to cover you if the worst does happen. We start with homebuilder Dave Yelovic. Dave serves on the State Board of Plumbing Examiners, and we recently went to a home to talk about ways to prevent a frozen disaster. Is there anything we can do ahead of time before cold weather comes that'll give us an edge?
That's a great question. When the weatherman says tonight, hey, it's going to be cold tonight, you're too late. So, get out in the fall and prepare your house. And we're going to go through a few tips on how to do that. If you've got pipes, I say start from the top down.
Okay.
Start up in your attic. The number one place last winter where pipes froze was in the attic. And if you go up into your attic and you see exposed pipes, then I would recommend everybody go out to the big box store, buy yourself a handful of pipe insulation, and just go up, and it's very simple. It's a easy do-it-yourselfer stuff. You just unfold it, wrap it around the pipes, and it'll stick together. And this will give, pipe insulation doesn't guarantee it won't freeze up there. It just slows down the process. It's insulation. It's like putting a jacket over your pipes.
Right.
So look for pipes that are exposed in your attic, and then you work your way down in the house, and we'll see some other things that could freeze. But number one, check your attic.
And now, one of the problems that we saw during the big winter storm Uri was that people lost power for days on end. It's kind of difficult to protect the pipes when there's no heat in the house, right?
Yeah, it's let's say two scenarios. I guess a good scenario would be you have power and you have heat. It's just going to get really cold. Mm-hmm. So what can I do? And that's one scenario we can cover. But then if the worst case scenario, if the power goes out, it's below freezing, eventually everything's going to get cold. There is no radiant heat from the heater inside warming up the pipes. So if that happens, then do all you can to keep things warm. If you have a fireplace, get a nice cozy fire going. Warm up the house as best you can. Don't go in and out of the doors a lot, the outside doors. Keep the warm air in. If you have a slab house, the slab during the winter, it absorbs heat. So if the power goes out, the heat, that slab will radiate heat for a number of days, for the most part. So that'll keep your house
better than ambient.
Yeah, well, it'd be about 50 degrees in your house just with the heat from the slab. But yes, over time, everything gets cold and below freezing, especially the walls on the outside. If you have exterior walls, that's where we're going to focus. What can I do? Because that's usually where pipe, besides your attic, the exterior walls are where the pipes will freeze in the future.
Another thing we always heard during freezing conditions was go ahead and drip your faucets a little bit, especially the ones on the outside walls. But then we got some conflicting information later on when people started running low on water. So what's your best advice for the individual homeowner?
I'll stay out of the global argument,
sure,
but it's the idea of dripping your faucet, you want to keep them from freezing. Mm-hmm. So if every now and then, I think if we're in an extended period of freezing, having your faucets run a long time will deplete the water supply, especially in any good city. Mm-hmm. So just periodically open the faucets, especially the hot water, turn those on, get some warm water circulating, and then the same thing with the cold water pipes, and then let them off. Go to bed. Before you go to bed, circulate some water. Do that all around the house, all your bathrooms, your faucets, your commodes. That way the water will be moving in all the pipes.
What about the outside faucets? What can we do about those?
Well,
you wouldn't want to drip those.
Yeah, you don't want to drip those, but those are the most prone to freezing, obviously, because they're outside. Any type of insulation around your hose bibs will help. I remember I used to just take, don't tell my wife, but took the beach towels or the bath towels and I just wrapped them around the outside faucets and I put some duct tape around them until the cold passed, and that creates a blanket around your hose bib. And so that's all we're trying to do. And then the ones that are on the exterior walls will hopefully stay warm because the warmth from the house will be passing through that wall, keeping this little dome above freezing.
At what point, though, should we just consider turning off the whole water to our house?
That's a really good question. Again, some people may not, they may not have any way of doing all these little things. Maybe they have exposed pipes in the attic and they can't get to them to wrap them in insulation. So your best bet at any time, if you're questioning, hey, what if? Go outside, find the main water shutoff, and turn off the water to your house. Once you shut off the water, then you go around the house, open up the hose bibs on the outside, let the water drain out of those. Go inside to your faucets, let the water drain out of those, and then pray for the best.
That's a step that I guess I hadn't heard either. Once you turn off the water, you also want to turn on the faucets to kind of let the water that's in the system come out.
Kind of like we were saying, especially on the outside faucets, because there is a little bit of water right there toward the end. And again, we're getting some air into the system. We're letting the water out as best we can, creating some room in those pipes. So if there is some movement of ice, it'll have room and it's not filled with water.
Where would most homeowners find their main cutoff valve?
It varies per house, obviously, but if you're attached to municipal water, whether it's city water or mud district water, you have a water meter out near the curb, usually out near the street. It's usually in a box. The box could be concrete. The box could be plastic. You can see it's just another valve down there. I could reach in there.
Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey here?
Yeah. If you go down there, now some haven't been moved for years, so you might have to get something so you're going to get a little leverage on it. So you would reach down there and usually just turn it 90 degrees and that's off. And then you go over to the house, start opening stuff up and draining the water out.
Is that something we should practice as homeowners, to at least know where it is and try it out?
That's a great point, yeah. Being proactive, just like wrapping your pipes, getting familiar with where your valves are and knowing how to shut them off. Are they movable? Am I going to need a wrench to do them? And if so, what kind of wrench? Do you have one in your garage?
Yeah.
So get familiar with that and practice.
Even if you've taken all the precautions, water trapped in an exposed pipe can still freeze, expand, and cause a mess later when it thaws out. Do you know if your insurance would cover that? We asked Gammy Martinez from TDI's Property and Casualty section what you should know about water damage and insurance. Why is it important for homeowners to try to understand the water coverage in their home insurance policy? Are they not all the same?
No, they can differ policy to policy. So it's always best to know how your policy is going to cover water damage, what's not going to be covered, because there are instances where, you think you do have coverage and you go to file your claim and turns out that what you thought wasn't actually what the policy provided.
Yeah, do most home insurance policies cover water and mold damage?
Most do. But it's always beneficial to read your policy, talk to your company, talk to your agent, find out if there are limitations, if there's an endorsement that you can purchase that might be able to provide more coverage. So it's always best to talk to the company, and always we encourage you to read your policy.
Yeah, and we definitely say you can ask questions all the time, so go ahead and talk to your agent or company. Now, a lot of Texans had pipes burst due to the freezing weather last winter. Does insurance pay for that kind of damage?
Most policies, again, they will. The key kind of term there is sudden and accidental, and we usually consider that from the insurance perspective. So losses that are out of the insurance control that wouldn't or couldn't be prevented or predicted. Burst pipe is a very common example of that, and you just have to be kind of prepared as to knowing what your policy, what it says, and how that damage will be covered.
Right, and I guess it doesn't always have to be a frozen pipe. We've heard of also of things like hoses on appliances can fail, and you end up with water on the floor.
Exactly, shower drains, any kind of definitely be a potential water claim.
What about flooding from something like a backed up sewer line? Is that covered by your homeowner's insurance?
It can be. Again, I'm going to keep repeating it.
Read that policy.
Policy, yes, sir. Because there could be an exclusion for that. But we always say, again, talk to your agent, talk to your company, ask those questions, have that conversation. And just, if there's something that you're unsure of about what the policy says, have them point it out to you. what part of the policy will address that, and just make sure that you have a pretty clear understanding of how your policy will respond in the event that you do have some water damage.
Finding out how your insurance covers water damage also applies to renter's insurance. A broken pipe or malfunctioning washing machine can cause a lot of damage to your personal property, especially if it happens when you're not home. Martinez said most policies will require you to take action preventing further damage, like shutting off the water supply as soon as possible. And remember, home insurance does not cover damage caused by rising water that comes from outside your home, like from a rainstorm or a clogged drainage system. You'd need flood insurance to cover those types of disasters. Although if you live in Texas, flood insurance is also highly recommended. Well, that's it for today. If you need more information about home or renter's insurance, visit our website, tdi.texas.gov. You can also call our helpline at 800-252-3439 to ask your insurance questions. And be sure to subscribe to the Texas Insurance Podcast, wherever you get podcasts, so you don't miss out on any of this important information. Stay warm, and we'll talk to you next time.